Alright guys, so here's my next notes in the equation chapter. We're going to take a look at equations where we're going to have to simplify. So we're going to solve equations where you have to distribute and then combine like terms. All things we've done already this year. Now this whole chapter I've been giving you guys one extra step from the day previous. We started out with one-step equations that looked like this. And we drew the mirror down, and we divided both sides by 3, and we ended up getting x is equal to 2. It's that simple. Then we moved on to two-step equations. And it was almost the same process, except we had to do two things. We had to get rid of that 3 and that 2. And the big part of that day was which one do we get rid of first. So which one do we get rid of first? Obviously the thing that we're not attached to, so let's minus 2 from both sides to get 3x is 6 yet again, and then divide by 3 and get x is 2. Then the day after that, I moved on to equations where you have variables on both sides. And kids get a little bit stuck here because they always try to move the thing that's not attached like they did with two-step equations, but no, that's not yet. This is get all the variables to one side, because if that wasn't there, it would be a two-step equation and something that you could do. So let's get rid of one of those variables. You really can get rid of either one. I like to get rid of the smaller one because I do not like negatives. And the way that I get rid of a positive 3x is by minusing 3x to get 2x plus 2 is 8, minus 2 on both sides because it's not attached, to get 2x is 6, and then divide by 2 to get x is 3. Now today we're going to look at equations that look like this one right here. So take a look at it for a second and then answer for me, how does this one look different? Well, hopefully the parentheses are huge. It's definitely got parentheses. And we can combine some x's. There's a lot of x's. So lots of x's. And it doesn't have to be x's. It obviously could be any variable. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to solve something like this today. It's actually the last step when solving equations. We're done with it after this. Then I just have to show you guys some things like ones with special answers or ones with fractions and things like that. So this chapter is almost wrapping up here. So today we're going to add the very last step when it comes to solving equations, and that's simplifying. I've been trying to work on this with you guys during this chapter up until now when I was giving you guys questions that looked like this. So I would say, okay, let's simplify this. And hopefully by now you know that we need to distribute first. To get 2 times 2x is 4x. 2 times 1 is 2. And then drop down that x. And then say, oh, look, I can combine this x and this 4x to get 5x plus 2. And then after that, it's done, and it turns into that problem from yesterday. So all that we would do, don't feel like you have to turn back, but all you would have to do is replace this with, I think it was 5x plus 2, and then it turns into a problem just like that. All right? So down here I say, and then when you're done with that, it turns into the problem from yesterday. Yep, this gives us our final list of steps to solve an equation as simplify first, then get variables on one side, and then after that is the super easy ones, the ones that you did last year, two-step equations, and then one-step rules. All right? So let's take a look at a couple examples today. Hopefully this goes by pretty quick because it's not really that bad. So this first one, I definitely see some parentheses in there. They're obvious. So let's get rid of them. And the way that I get rid of parentheses is by distributing. So 6 times 2 is 12. And then 6 times negative x is minus 6x. And that's all equal to negative 24. There's some crappy signs in this one. How do I get rid of, well, actually, which one do I have to get rid of first? The 6 or the 12? Hopefully you're thinking the 12 here because it's not attached to the x. Obviously that 6 and x are attached. And how do I get rid of a positive 12? I'm going to minus 12, and I'm going to minus 12 on this side. Are these numbers on this side here going to fight? No, they get along. They're both a negative, so they're going to team up to be one big old negative group, and I'm going to get negative 36 on that side is equal to negative 6x. All right, and then how do I get rid of it? Times negative 6. I'm going to divide both sides by negative 6 to get x is just straight up 6. All right, and that's it. That's really all for today. I'm just going to go over some other ones that could confuse you guys. This next one definitely confuses people. They confuse it. Actually, let me do it first, and then I'll show you which one they confuse it with. So I'm going to drop my mirror down. And what you have to do here, again, pretend this isn't even here. And like at the beginning of the chapter, I would say, okay, what can we do here? You can combine this 4y and this 3y to get 7y minus 14 is, and I'm going to not erase that because I forgot what it was already, is 28. And now it's just a two-step equation. That's super easy. I'm going to get rid of that minus 14 by adding 14. To get 7y is 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 2, 3, 4, 42. And then I'm going to divide both sides by 7. And y is 42 divided by 7 is just 6 again. Now, what I was starting to say before is that people confuse this one with 4y minus 14 is equal to 3y plus 28. And they're super different. They're really different. I'm even going to put the word super different. Anyone know why they are so different? Well, the one on the left, the 3y and the 4y are on the same side. So when you push them together, they become 7y. The one on the right, they're on opposite sides, so you can't push them together. So people always mess this one up. They always, on this one, right here, will go, oh, I'm going to minus 3y to get rid of it from right here, and then I'm going to minus 3y to get rid of it right there, and then I'm done. And that's super wrong, because on the left side, you minused 3y twice, so you actually minused 6y's, but you did not minus 6y on the right side at all. So that's really, really, really wrong. Don't do it in the red pen. Do it how we did in the blue pen here. Hopefully you didn't erase. The one on the right, you do minus the 3y's because you can't put them together. You go minus 3y's here and minus 3y's here, and then your mirror is happy because it's on both sides like that. So please just watch out if you get ones like that. And honestly, the next examples we go over will have both of those in it, so we'll be able to practice. But before we do that, I want you guys to pause the video and try this sort of basic one. It shouldn't be too bad. Remember, they're on the same side, so just actually put them together. All right, so pause it now. All right, hopefully that was enough time. 5x and 3x is 8x plus 1 is 9, minus 1 on both sides, and I end up getting 8x is 8. Divide both sides by 8. And yeah, that's easy. X is 1. Okay? All right, so that being said, let's get to what I was talking about, ones where we're going to have to do a whole bunch of stuff. When there are questions where you have to distribute and combine like terms. Okay, so one like example 3, if you can see it on there. Use PEMDAS. I know that please excuse my dear Aunt Sally stuff that we were talking about in the beginning of this year. Use PEMDAS to figure out which order to do it in. What two operations are happening, let's say in example 3 on the left side, what two things are happening there? I'm distributing and I need to combine like terms. So what two operations is that? What operation is distributing? Well, it's multiplying. And then combining like terms is adding. So which one comes first in PEMDAS? Multiplying or adding? Well, obviously, adding is almost towards the end. M is like right in the middle. So that being said, we are going to distribute first. We've already done that today, but people mess that up still. So let's distribute right away to get 3y plus 21 plus 2. Almost messed it up. And now, here's a big thing that people mess up. They don't continue. They're like, okay, I'm done. No, you still can combine some things here. You can go 21 plus 2 to get 23 is equal to, and then can I do any simplifying on the right side? Yeah, it's a 6y and a 2y, and when I put those together, I end up getting 8y's minus 2. All right, so now it's a equation with variables on both sides. This is a huge one. So which one should I get rid of first? Again, you could get rid of both. I'm going to get rid of that 3y. How do I make 3y into 0? Minus 3y's on both sides. And I end up getting 23 is 5y's minus 2. Now, what type of equation is this? It's a two-step. Let's add 2 on both sides. And I end up getting 5y's is 25. Divide both sides by 5. And I end up getting y is 5. Okay? So after all that work, I got y is 5. So pause the video. Try these two. Number 4 is really, really tough with the signs, so please be careful there. And then unpause it when you think you're good. All right, hopefully that was enough time. Let's do this sort of quick. On the left side, I end up getting 3x and x that can be put together to get 4x plus 2. On the right side, I end up getting 5x plus 10. Be careful, make sure that you have a 10. I almost said 2 myself. All right, so now I can get all variables to one side by minusing 4x on both sides. Again, this is the order that I want you doing it in. To get 5x minus 4x, that's super nice. That's just x. Hey, I don't even need to put the 1 there because you don't just say, hey, I have 1 pen. You say, I have a pen. All right, plus 10. And when I minus 10 on both sides to get rid of that, I end up getting x, which is what I wanted. It's all by itself, is negative 8. And that's it. Let's take a look at number 4. Like I said, this one would be challenging. So obviously I see parentheses here, so I have to distribute. What am I distributing? I'm assuming a lot of you just said 4. That's not true. I'm distributing a negative 4 out. So that's really going to change your last term if you didn't do that correctly. So it should say 6x minus 4x. Here's where you guys are going to mess up. It's going to be negative is happy. Remember that whole stuff? So it's positive 4. Okay, so make your changes if you need to. If not, give yourself a good old pat on the back. You did great. And when I combine that 6x and that minus 4x, I end up getting 2x plus 4 is 14. And now it's actually what type of equation? Hopefully you said 2. Let's minus 4 on both sides to make that 0. To make it a one-step equation, almost there. Divide by 2, x equals 5. Now I would be done because that's as hard as it gets, but I've seen a picture problem a bunch, and I don't want you guys to get tripped up on it because it's not bad. I've seen one like this, where they say if the perimeter of the triangle below is 50, find x. So it's really not that bad. They say something is 50, which means equals. I love is in math because it just means equals. So something equals 50. And the perimeter, anyone remember what perimeter is? We add up all the sides. So let's add up all the sides here. Are there any like terms on these sides? We have the 3x and the 2x to give us 5x plus 10 is 50. And now it's just a two-step equation, right? Because we already combined some like terms. So minus 10 on both sides, and I end up getting 5x is 40. Divide both sides by 5, and I end up getting x is 8. So I wanted to be really, really smart and ask, how long is the bottom? How long is the bottom? Some of you might be thinking 8. That's not true. It's 16. Any idea how I got 16? Yeah, plug in 8 right there. And 8 times 2 is 16. All right, so some final thoughts, and then we're done. Blank before combining like terms. What do you guys think? Distribute. Distribute is always going to really come first. Simplify all the way before you start getting all variables to one side. Get rid of the things that you are not attached to when dealing with a two-step equation. And last but not least, when a term says blank, it means 3 times x. What means 3 times x? Just a 3x, so don't get mixed up with that. All right, guys, that's it. Thanks for watching.